What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
That music wasn't too painful.
Yeah, I want to get some like old school rock on there. That's what I
I
want.
don't think it's that bad.
Like Nirvana or like
Yeah.
the big
I don't know, some AC/DC or something like that. I mean, like
Right?
Led Zeppelin, something like that. I don't know. You know? So, guys, we have the one, the only, the Bob Ross of painting, I guess you could say. TK, like the ultimate painter.
I don't know if you do
Sir.
something long enough, I guess you something.
How's everybody doing? Sorry, I was MIA last week. I didn't quit YouTube.
Clickbait titles, we got
Yeah,
it.
I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.
Got everybody in the house. We got Jesse, Bass with Big Malone, we got
I am on my
Scott,
phone tonight, so I can't be
Rich.
too up on the chat, y'all. Sorry about that.
No, I can't comment either.
Forgot my-
Tim.
I feel lost.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. I left my computer at work. I mean, I could probably do it on... No, I don't even think I can do it on here. No, shop. But
Brian, Gators, Amy, Buck Bradley. We got
Buck
Tom
Bradley.
Mix in the house. We got like everybody in here, I think.
we're going to...
Got Matt, Darius.
Everybody.
Robbed everybody from Small Rush.
Where's
We're
Travis?
gonna sell y'all our fishing spots app in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Just hang tight.
Oh, all right. Let me see how fast I can design. Let's see if I can remember how to code.
Mr. Gambit's in the house. Mike Vogel.
Oh,
Scott.
all right. So,
You guys rolling in here.
for those of you who do not know, this is TK. He runs Tackle Kraft. He paints lures and makes them look a million times better than what they were before. And he also has a collaboration with Marty Burns, making balsa baits and painting those, and left all of his social links in the description, and website link and Patreon link in the description. So if any of you guys are interested, go check those links and make sure to follow him there. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. So for those of you who did not know TK, where
Good.
what happened?
No, somebody said they could barely hear me.
Uh-oh.
Adam. Can you hear me? I got my AirPods in.
Ooh, that's crackly
Sorry,
there.
let me know. Is that crackly? Sorry.
You're a little bit louder there for a second.
Good.
Everybody good?
Sorry. I just popped out. Maybe the mic for my phone might pick up better.
I think you're pretty good at the moment. Just a little bit lower.
Either, or do I need to speak louder?
No, I think you're good. Unless you want me to whisper.
I was trying to match South Jersey, so I didn't wake anyone.
Yeah, I think TJ, you're a little low for me, but
I'm low.
Oh. Alright.
Brennan, get
You guys sound pretty good,
These are levels.
James volume is pretty low. Hold on, I'll try this.
You guys sound good, dear. Uh-oh.
Is that better?
That's better. That's louder.
Louder?
I can't.
Mhm.
Alright, I guess I'll just rock
Yeah.
it.
Alright. So TK, would you be able to tell these? I'm sure we've got plenty of people in here that do not know who you are. Who are you, and how did you get into fishing and painting lures? And maybe give us your little bit of a background.
Yeah, I guess I am best known for custom painting fishing lures. That's kind of where how I got into the fishing world. But early on, I wanted to fish professionally, and
Oh, really?
yeah, that was like when I was in college. I was like, I don't want to fish the A series, and then I started kind of looking at the money of it, and doing the math. And I was like, I really don't want to pay $100 for or $100,000 for a chance to go make money. But now looking back, I mean, it's the same thing as any business. You're paying for a chance to be successful, but fishing didn't make a whole lot of sense. And I was tournament fishing, and I kind of wanted to touch up some baits because everything was lame. Like I wanted like a bluegill, and everything that was supposed to mimic a bluegill looks dumb. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, I think I can do better than this, because These are terrible. And even like at the time, like the custom painted bluegills and stuff, they really didn't like pacify me to the detail that I wanted on a bait.
Mm.
And like the image, like the photo image stuff never appealed to me. And I, I just kind of wanted a better mousetrap. So I
Yeah.
Yeah.
started, I started painting just like everybody else. Got my Createx and my DevCon and started blasting baits. And
Yeah.
it was during like the sexy shed craze. So
Oh yeah.
like that was like the first color I had to learn how to paint. It wasn't the first color I painted, but
Hmm.
um, I kind of cut my teeth on sexy shed and then moved on from that. Um, but yeah,
Nice.
it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of how it always goes, right?
yeah, and but like seeing like keeping up with like the fishing lure like painting groups and like back then it was like Bass Boat Central and Tackle Underground was about the only two places you could go to get any
Mhm.
like information about like bait building and stuff. And there
Yeah.
was always guys that would say, "You better watch out because if you want business, you're going to wake up and have more business than you'll ever want." And that is a load of crap, dude. Like nobody, like that never happened. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like when I was painting full time, I was like, "Who are these guys that say you're going to wake up?" And I realized what the deal was is these guys weren't painting for a living that I like looked up to and thought that was their job.
Hmm.
I'd see their baits and I'd see them post on like uh, a business page. You know what I mean? That's like set up as
Hmm.
like a bait company or like painting company or whatever. And I
Yeah.
just thought because they had a page that they were like a full time
Legit.
business, and they weren't. They were just doing it on the weekends and stuff. So
Hmm.
when they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have more business than I ever want," it's like, no, dude, I need like 300 baits a week to be like doing something. And and then it dawned on me, it's like, oh, those guys are getting like 20 baits a week, and they're swamped because they're doing it on Sunday afternoon. Um, so it took a little bit of learning curve and kind of those kind of hiccups to get through to figure out what was actually possible and what the business side of it was all about and what
Yeah.
the potential was. Um, but I think in the if you want to paint, it's incredibly hard
Hmm.
um, to to make any kind of living at it. But the swim bait world has changed that.
Yes, sir.
Um, you can you can do okay now, I think, with swim baits. But like if you just wanted to paint like
Blanks or something.
conventional hard baits, just like
Yeah.
regular, you're making it hard on yourself.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah.
I
And
got a
it's
good
not
question
also.
for you.
All right.
hmm?
Brendan, you go ahead. Because if it's your,
Okay. Sorry.
we're probably going to elaborate some. Go ahead.
But I'm sure it's not all just like your painting skills and everything. I'm sure you've got to like learn how to do the business end of it as well, like taxes, website management, customer service. I'm sure all that's a pain in the butt to do as well. That's
Yeah,
a learning curve there.
I wouldn't say it's a pain.
Hmm.
Like the customers, I've been blessed and I've got great customers, always have.
Hmm.
Um, and but you hear nightmare stories about guys that are like, oh, I've had people order 30 baits and then they didn't pay for them. I've never had to like deal with
Really,
crappy customers.
man. Except for the
But
guy that had the M on the baits, didn't he? Didn't he
yeah,
was he was like, oh,
he wanted the K from
oh, the
one of my.
K. Okay.
He was a little bit of a pain, but he wasn't rude.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that side of the business is it's different if you're a one man show
Hmm.
painting baits to fund the business. Like
Hmm.
if you're sitting on a tall ass wallet, it's
Hmm.
not hard
Mm-hmm.
because you can pay somebody to design your website. You can pay people to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you have to paint a bait and sell it to afford to pay somebody to build your website and to
Hmm.
design your business cards, to do all of that stuff,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Oh,
And
no.
I mean that's literally how I've always, like, since I started doing this, is how I look at money. Like when
Mhm.
something costs me $200, how many baits do I have to paint to pay for that?
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that's exactly how my brain works.
In the car.
And you
That's a
know,
pretty
it's like,
good way
"Oh,
of getting it.
let's go on vacation. It's only going to be $6,000." It's like, well, if I put that into crankbaits, that is a lot of crankbaits. So, but yeah, like I think you need to learn all that stuff. I wouldn't say it's character building, but it makes you. I think you just need that determination to where you're like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn how to do this. But at some point, you gotta learn. If we're talking about it with swim baiting, you
Yeah.
gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, and say, listen, that is not my realm of expertise. I'm gonna leave it alone and not try
Yeah.
and like learn CAD. Like
Mhm.
I'm just gonna let somebody that's good at it do that. But yeah, for the most part, like it's a slow burn. You know what I mean? But by the time
Mhm.
you get to the end of the road, I think you've developed a pretty good skill set of dealing with people and a business, and you know everything that goes along with it. And you've built a good customer base that's rock solid. And I
Yeah.
think that's what you need. But the biggest thing in the fishing industry that I've seen that's so odd is that the number one, I feel like, complaint that is the easiest thing to do is to not be a dick. Be a man of your word.
Yeah.
Deliver stuff on time. Don't steal people's money. And it sounds easy,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't believe how many like ships have sunk in this industry because they can't like do those three things.
Mhm.
It's mind-boggling. But so
Yeah.
if you're like a genuine dude that can like be honest with people and like be a straight shooter and have like a little bit of moral fiber, I think you're good in any business. But
Yeah.
um, I think when you start assuming, I think that was part of my problem coming up, is that like I held all these people to, just people I saw in the industry. I would hold them to some regard that they were, you know, all good people, and there are a lot of good people, but there's also a lot of dipshits, and
Mhm.
you never, for there's
Andrew
it
Hinkle.
every day.
Yeah. And that's awesome that you've been able to like build this whole like brand and get like awesome customers that are willing to give you the money and have you paint their baits and trust you to do that. Because I'm sure you paint a lot of expensive baits too that are, well, extremely expensive and prized among anglers, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of hurts my feelings sometimes
Oh yeah.
when I get emo, is when somebody sends me a bait and they're like, "Can you fix this?"
Uh-huh.
And they'll be like, "I sent it to this guy to paint, and it's awful." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Why did you do that?" You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you just send it to me in the first place?
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
And
Mhm.
like, I understand that, a lot of guys, because there's so many people that paint now. Everybody's got like a neighbor or a buddy that's attempting to do it, and
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll give him a shot." But give that dude a shot on a damn DT6, dude. Don't send him like your Clash 9 or like your Roman made. But people will like let somebody go wild on like a really high end bait, and it's really shocking sometimes the stuff that people
That's
will
great.
let their buddies like throw something down on. And I don't
Yeah.
know.
Crazy. And
Yeah,
who is, or sorry, are you guys audio good? I heard some people in here still saying that your audio is bad.
mine.
Let me just
I
see.
think you sound better
Yeah,
than before.
both yours. But I
I think
think you
I'm
guys are
okay
good.
now, and TK, you sound a lot better. That you sound better than before. Earlier, there was like a whooshing noise in the back. I heard it, but it's gone now.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Good
Pretty
now,
good
yeah.
now, he
I said
says.
we're good now.
Okay, we're
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
Um,
Oh, that was my question for TK.
this one.
No, not that one. My question for you, TK, is what do you think of 6 cents color schemes? And
There,
honest, you be very honest. I just want to know.
I don't think. I think the initial run was great, but I don't think they have kept up with what Casey started as. Because Casey was the shit, dude. When he started painting, there was like, because I was still like a fanboy pre-painter bait geek then. When Casey was like on top of the custom painting world, and it was like eBay wars. Like he
Yeah.
would post stuff, John Pryor would post stuff, Dwayne Beatty would post stuff, and like there was like 5 or 6 guys that would paint baits and post them on eBay, and it was a damn battle, dude. Like guys would spend, $50 to $100 on a crankbait. Like Pryor was talking on one of my streams about selling a custom painted magic swimmer back then for like $180, $160. Like now that seems crazy.
Yeah.
But that's how it was then. But now if you get on eBay and you look at like custom painted crankbaits, it's just a bunch of junk. But back then it was really, really, really high end stuff, and it was fun to watch. And Casey was the best, and you can see it now, obviously, with the monster that 6 Sense has become. But he was so good at marketing his baits, and it was from one thing, dude. He would take a picture of his bait, and he would put it beside a picture of a fish or whatever the pattern was supposed to mimic, and they would look. They weren't like exact replicas, right? Like
Yeah, it was good enough.
They were beautiful, but they weren't like, you didn't look at the other one and be like, wow, he like printed that on that. It was in the realm of the picture. But that sold so many baits, and it still does. Like that tactic still works. And
I'm gonna try this.
I'm serious. I don't know what it does to a fisherman's brain, but it short circuits them to say,
it works.
I have to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but he smoked everybody else's ass in that world because he knew how to sell baits, and it was really cool watching him like do it, and he knew how to get his name out there, and he knew how to move baits, and because it's hard, especially when you're just a dude with an airbrush, it's hard. Now we have social media, we have platforms to speak on your baits, whatever. Back then, you had to do it with a picture, right? So everybody's painting baits and they're posting pictures. You had to sell people with just a picture. And I don't know how many you could even put on eBay at the time. You might have been able to only post like 3. So you had to capture your audience with 3 pictures. And that's how we did it. That's how he built a freaking empire.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you say it like that.
But that's where he came from, dude. He came from duking it out on eBay with 3 pictures. And he just had to make his better than everybody else's. And he was like, not saying he was the best photographer. He obviously knew how to take pictures. But so did John Pryor. I feel like John Pryor was a better photographer, painter, everything else. But for some reason, it sold. It sells stuff, dude. And it was a cool brand. You know what I mean? Still is, but back then it was cooler because it was still underground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love me some 6.
Yeah. So
Jermaine here has an addiction to 6 Sense baits.
Yeah.
There's worth it.
From Cinco de Mayo down at the little mailroom right now.
Yeah. So we got some questions popping in here, or some statements, I guess you could say. Yeah, Tim, we were just talking about that. Oh, I forgot to call you back, Tim. I'm sorry. I was busy.
But no, I think I don't know. I don't want to. I like where 6 Sense is now.
Yeah, it's a massive company. They move some product, like a lot of product. It's insane.
And I've sat down with Casey at his old shop, and spoke with him at length, multiple times, and I never did ask him because he wasn't a monster like he is now, or
Mhm.
Six Sense wasn't. They were growing, but they weren't, what they are now. But I
Yeah.
would like to ask him if what they are now or what they're going to be was the goal from the beginning.
Mhm. Be interesting to talk to him about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it,
I mean,
like
he
when
does
he.
the. Oh, you go
Go ahead.
ahead. Sorry. Oh, you
No,
go
I was
ahead.
done. I was done.
He does those customs now. He does like he drops like on his
Yeah.
website. They have like he paints them. I'm not sure if it's him painting them though.
I'm sure it is.
I'm not sure. You
They look
sure
like it.
about that? I mean, yeah.
Why
I
wouldn't
mean,
it
they're
be?
going for a lot of money though. Like, I mean, I was like really like $120 for a crankbait that you could just buy on the site for $9.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we
Nice
go. There's the.
thing.
They're right here, buddy.
I mean, it's a collectible.
Yeah, I guess so. It comes with like a certificate and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jermaine, let's show off the stuff that Bob sent you.
Yeah, he sent me a bunch of things. Let me see. Oh yeah, it does say right here. He gave me a list. So he sent me a Brian's, Bees, Balsa Flat, Rapala DT6, discontinued Rapala DT Flat, Tony Bishop Custom, Lucky Kraft, Gunfish,
Ooh, a gunfish. That's a good one. I like
Big
those.
Bass Magic Swim Bait, Lucky Craft Pointer 95, and the Ed's Chambers WEC Sweet Pea 2000. Yeah, that's the little guy I was showing
Yeah,
you.
that was a sweet pea. Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
TK, what are your favorite? All right, so if you have 3 crankbaits you're going to throw for the rest of your life. I'm pretty sure I know one of them, the B3.
Mm-hmm.
What are your other 2 that you're throwing?
Bagley Balsa B3. Probably just in case I have to live off of like eating fish.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a Bandit 200.
Okay.
Just because to me that is like the fish catchingest bait of all time. Like if you want dinner, you can take that thing to pretty much any depth and like
Yeah.
catch food. So that would be on there strictly for
just fun and food.
just to survive for survival. After that, I probably need something deeper. I don't know.
The Moab.
I mean,
It's a big bait.
That is a big bait. That's a lot of bait. I don't know. Maybe an RC 1.5
Mm-hmm. Okay.
or a 5XD, something. I mean, that'd
Just a
cover
little
my
deeper.
range.
Yeah. What's your like crankbait setup? Because I know you have like a little bit more out there crankbait setup than most people.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm not one of those who typically listens to the norm and then runs and like follows the leader. So my whole thing with cranking was the process started of how I set up like a crankbait rod and reel and line and all that stuff. Was I was throwing a Bagley Balsa B2 in this log jam, and there was
Mhm.
3 logs, and I cast down the outside of one log, reeled it by, nothing. I threw it in between the ones on the end, reeled it in. Like a 4-pounder came up, bit my crankbait, ran under the limb, broke me off. It happened in like
Mhm.
2 seconds. And like there was at no point I was with the crankbait setup I was using at the time, there was at no point I would have ever been able to do anything with the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just pulled my pants down, spanked my little hiney, and ran off with my crankbait. And I said, all right, that's not going to happen again. So from that point, I said, all right, the first thing I need is line that's not going to break. I need bigger line because at the time everybody's like, oh, you need to crank with 12. Your bait's gonna lose action if you don't use like 12 pound or less. And like I had so many people tell me that. I was like, whatever. So I said, all right, getting rid of the 12. And then like if you're throwing a crankbait, you need to be throwing a limber action rod so they can like get the bait and the treble hooks don't pull out and all this crap. And I was like, all right, getting rid of the noodle stick. So that was part number 2. And I said I'm gonna get me a little faster reel than this 5.3-to-1 Corrado or whatever it is. So I bumped my speed up on my reel. I bumped up to 15 and 20 pound line, and then I bumped up to a like a 7-foot 7.2. Pretty. The rod's kind of like it's a 4-power, like a 734, 724, 720. My favorite rod is actually a 723, but it's not. It doesn't feel like a 3-power in like a Dobbins or a Powell. And what I like, my favorite rod for cranking for like square bill cranking or anything shallow is a Powell Diesel.
Okay, and that's discontinued.
It's discontinued, but they were dirt cheap because they say they were cheap because they didn't have a warranty like their other Powells, but I don't know. I thought, to me, the graphite was cheap, and that's what I liked, was that it was a cheaper graphite. It was a little fatter blank, and it was kind of like to me, it was like what a really high-end fiberglass rod would feel like, or like one of those like combo, glass S-glass with like the tip and the graphite butt or whatever. But it was kind of like really high-end, like high modulus graphite is really sharp, really like responsive, really all that kind of stuff, which is not what I wanted. But I didn't want glass because glass was mushy. I couldn't feel with glass. So like a cheaper graphite was like the perfect combination of a little bit of mushy, but you could still feel with it. So I'm typically, if I'm throwing something shallow, I'm throwing at something, a log, a stump, a piece of bush, something. So I need to be able to feel it. Like everything about what I crank is I need to feel, because I need to feel the bait. I need to feel what it's doing. I need to feel all of that. And I can still feel with that rod. But I also like mono, because mono gives me a little added stretch for using graphite. So the sensitivity of graphite, and like I said, it's not the most sensitive rod ever, but it's still more sensitive than like a glass rod. But the mono gives me a little bit of squish, and it gives me I don't know, I just feel like I can yank on them better. I don't ever have, like, if a fish is sawing me on a log, like I feel like mono holds up better. Like people say fluoro's like more abrasion resistance, but I don't feel like, I feel like damn
big game.
20-pound big game is like a fish can sit there and just go and saw me on a log, and I can still like drag him out of there. So I like a heavier action rod. I like mono. I like that little cheaper graphite. And like a 7-to-1 gear ratio. Nothing too fancy, but I don't like fluorocarbon. I don't like glass rods. I don't like limber rods. I need, my whole thing is because I pictured that fish and I said, if I could set up a combo for when that fish bit, I want to turn his head. When he bites it, I want him to go and come back out. And because my whole everything that I have set up over here, every rod and reel combo I have is set up to catch a 5-pounder. Because that's the only thing that mattered to me. Still, like if I could catch 4 and 5-pounders, which fishing tournaments was all that mattered. Because if I can get a 5-pounder out of a tree, a 2-pounder is nothing. If I can get a 4-pounder on it, if I can get a 4-pounder out of a log jam, a 2-pounder is nothing. So everything's set up for me to be able to get a 5-pound bite and get him in the boat and get him moved.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's what happened. That's why I lost the fish on this guy. is because I couldn't get them out of the laydown. So what's like a I'm using a G Loomis 945 crankbait rod. What would be a good alternative to that one that's kind of the similar action to the Powell diesel that you have?
What's it
Because I know the
called?
diesels aren't
It's a 5 power.
945. Yeah,
945.
by G Loomis. So
I don't.
it's a
I'm
7
not. I'm
foot.
not familiar with their with how their action and their numbers work.
Mhm.
But what
It's
would you
pretty
consider?
soft.
It's pretty soft.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
pretty soft.
I like that first. Let's see how this rod bends. This is the. I think this is it, or just yes. So this is the cranking stick that has no crankbait on it. Surprisingly. Let's see. Let's see how many guides it bends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it gets down like I don't know. It's like well, you probably can't see it. Yeah, you can't see it. But it like the taper it gets probably it bends like six guides down,
Mhm.
and then it's a damn broomstick.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can the tip you can feel stuff happening, and it like bounces off stuff, and
Mhm.
but when you need to like move something like turn one's head, you've got that whole rest of the rod that does that.
Yeah.
So I just think you need a decently soft tip, but it needs to have some ass behind it.
I think in the G Loomis makes the MBR actions. Those have like a really soft tip, and the rest is like a backbone, like really like strong. I've heard good things for those, but I'd probably just sell that one.
The crazy thing about rods, like my rods, is that if the stuff I do with them, if you actually read on the rod what you're supposed to do with the actual they recommend.
Mm-hmm. It's like a jig or something.
Yeah, like my crankbait rod is like a Carolina rig rod, and it's like who would ever throw a Carolina rig on this thing? But yeah, I don't I disregard all that stuff. Yeah, it's probably a medium heavy, extra fast.
Okay,
tip.
Gotcha. I'll look around online and see if I can find something that's equivalent to that.
Yeah, just like I said,
I just got for my chatterbait is a 736 CB glass. So it's kind of like real soft in the tip, and then it's heavy. He said.
Yeah, that's the good thing about those. Like most of like the Powell's, their CB series, like their 6 powers are really badass because they're soft, but they've still got like a pretty big backbone on them.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite rods I've got. Is it's a 726 CB Powell.
That all you use is Powell's?
Yeah, I've got all the old Maxes.
Do they make those anymore, or that's just your collection?
No, I use all the first run ones, the original green ones.
Nice.
But
what do those go for if you're able to get your hands on one?
Used? It depends. Some people I've seen some people offload them for $80. I mean, nice ones they'll sell for $100, but
so that's pretty cheap in the realm of rods and reels.
Yeah, like when they were new, they were $180, $170.
Yeah. It's still not even bad.
No.
$250.
And I mean, really, the only thing I'd like to have done is like the guides aren't great. I would like to have I'd like to take all like 20 of my old Powells and take them to somebody and have them strip every guide off of it and just put like new like titanium guides on them. Something that's like really good.
You'd spend a fortune putting new guides on there.
Probably.
It'd be a lot.
That's
definitely don't get them from
I'd probably just buy break the rod and then buy another rod.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of questions rolling in here I've saved up here. So there's one from Chris.
Top 3 bucket list largemouth lakes. California Delta.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully when it's good. I actually want to go to Rayburn. When I lived in Texas, when I lived in Austin, Rayburn was, it was pretty close. Like it was within driving distance, and I always wanted to go to Rayburn, and I never made it out there. So Rayburn's still kind of lingering around. And I guess I don't know. There's a lot of them, dude. Like I want to go. I want to go fish up there with Epic Eric and fish on the Potomac, James River, especially like somewhere up in there, and Champlain. I want to go to Champlain. Champlain's probably number one on my list of places I want to go.
Really?
Hmm. I just want to pretend like I'm Denny Brower and go up on the north end and like flip the big bull rushes. But yeah, I don't know. Kentucky Lake's probably my most favorite private or public lake I've ever been on.
Oh yeah, Darius is he's getting bites out there in smallmouth and everything. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the smallmouth is really, really blown up. But he says they've been there the whole time. But
he's like the underground guy. He's like,
he
they're still here.
Yeah, everybody else was driving by him going, "Look at this asshole." And he's had this like private smallmouth population to himself for the last 15, 20 years, and hella, I'm waiting on a Pigstone date. I don't know anything about Pigstone except that we're supposed to go rip on little mean northern strains up there.
I've never caught a smallmouth. I want to though this year. That's like a goal.
Amazing.
I've caught one in my life.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I caught like 3 or 4 this year.
Dude, I caught one. We went to Maine.
Was it like this big?
No, it was actually like a 2.5 pounder. But we went to my my mother-in-law turned. I won't tell her age, but she had a birthday, and the family planned a trip for her to Maine. So we went to Maine, and we were staying on a lake, and they had like a little kick boat that you like paddle with your feet, as you see in parks and stuff. They had one of those like on the little beach by the house. And Amy had asked the lady who was Airbnb in the house, she's like, my husband likes to fish. Do you have any fishing poles? And she's like, oh yeah, we got you set up. So we get there, and she's got 2 Zepco 33s that she went and bought and like put them in the kitchen. So I start looking around, and I'm like, there's no tackle. Like I don't have anything to fish with. So I went to like the gas station, I went to the grocery store, I went to the hardware store, and I was like, do y'all have fishing lures? And they were like, no. I'm like, literally, this is like 100 yards from a lake. And I'm like, people not fish here? And finally, I went down to the boat ramp, and there was this guy, and it was a small boat ramp. Like there wasn't anybody on the lake because I guess it was in October, and it was like everybody was trying to get out of there before it got cold or whatever. And there was this dude at the boat ramp putting his like V-bottom aluminum boat, and the dude must have had 50 rods on there, and they were like rod tips sticking up everywhere. And he had the most gigantic Bass Pro Shops tackle bag I've ever seen in my life. And
it's like a suitcase.
It was huge, dude. Like the dude had enough tackle. Like his tackle weighed more than his boat. And I asked him. I said, I didn't want to come out and be like, "Hey, give me some baits." So I asked him. I was like, "Is there anywhere around here to buy fishing tackle?" And he's like, "Maybe about an hour that way." And I was like, "I don't want to drive an hour." And he's like, "What do you need?" And I said, "I don't know. What you tell me, what do I need?" And he was like, "Come here." So he invited me on his vessel. So I walked over there, and he was like being real like quiet and cryptic, and he was like, "Let me tell you something." I said, "All right." He said, "Me and these 2 guys right here, we've been on this lake all damn day." I said, "All right." He said, "We caught bass, perch, crappie, bluegill." I said, "All right." He said, "I'm going to give you what they were biting." And he handed me this little like 1/8-ounce smoked grub. And he was like, "Let me rig them up for you." So I was like, all right, this guy's going to rig me up like the good stuff. Like I couldn't rig a grub by myself. And this dude put this grub on crooked as a dog's dick, dude. It was like the worst rigging of a grub you have ever seen. And I was like, all right. And he gave me one.
Malone.
One.
And I was like, all right, dude, I appreciate it. And he's like, well, let me give you one more. And I was like, sweet, thanks. Now I got a backup. So he gave me two. The dude pulled me 2 jig heads and 2 grubs out of a box of probably 200 jig heads. So, beggars can't be choosers. But I was thinking to myself, damn, dude, you got like 100 8th-ounce jig heads in there. But so he gave me 2, rigged them up all crooked, and I took him out there in my little paddle boat and grabbed a couple of White Claws for the road, paddled out there, and got to the main part of the lake, and there was this little pocket, and it like dipped in. It had some grass on the either end of the point. I said that looks pretty fishy. Threw my little Zebco out there, let my grub sink to the bottom, and I just started reeling, and I felt the bite. I kind of just like started leaning into it and trying to like catch up with this fish with this like 2-to-1 gear ratio Zebco. And the fish jumped like out away from the boat, but it jumped away from me. And I was like, I don't know if I was drunk or what, but I was like, that fish looked weird. It was real brown, and it still like didn't like the light bulb didn't go off. And it starts pulling my little boat around, and it finally came up beside the boat, and I looked at it, and it was like, oh, like the clouds open from heaven, and like the sunbeams shine down on the smallmouth, and I was like, holy crap, dude! I was like, this is it. This is the one. And I reached down there and grabbed it and had my little moment with the smallmouth and threw it back, and it was a pretty awesome experience. But that was only one. That was only one. But I can say I'm glad it happened like that. You know what I mean? Like it was a good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that story.
2 weeks ago. Last week on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And then I caught my PB smallmouth actually last week too. I didn't even realize until I put it on fish brain. It was only 3 pounds, but it was smallmouth fight like
What'd that one bite?
Main has giant.
Work call?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
No, I saw Amy said Maine, and I thought she was asking me a question, and they're talking about
No, yeah, that's where we were, the state of Maine.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I saw Maine, and I was like, oh, let me scroll up. Is she talking to me? Sorry.
Yeah, we did. We weren't in. I forget we were in Limerick, Maine. It wasn't a giant lake. I pretty much kicked myself in that little boat around the whole thing, but it was beautiful. Water was black. It was like real crystal clear, like clean dark water. It was pretty. Yep.
Nice. There's a little question from Little Rich here, asking about do you mess with baits or fiddle with them?
Tweak, yeah. I mean, I'm a tinkerer. I don't do so much.
I'll grab some water real quick.
I guess at this point, I don't. I'm trying to think. I'm not as picky about hooks as I used to be, because it seems like now, as dumb as this sounds, and I've gotten flamed for saying this. I don't hate dull hooks. Like I don't have to have like the sharpest, gnarliest, like JDM, like medically sharpened hook because I stay hung up. You know what I mean? Like you can't
into the bronze.
Yeah, like a Brown's Gamakatsu is a great hook, and they're sharp, and like they're sharp enough. That's the thing is like I don't need razor like I said medical grade points to like hook a bass and get him in the boat, because I've seen it happen too many times in the back of my boat with like my dad or like my buddies. They'll dig around in their box and pull out this like rusty old triple grip that's got like half the barbs broke off, and there's nothing left of the hook hardware. And they hook a 5-pounder, and the fish could never come off in 20 years. It's hooked so well. And you just look at that and you're like, dude, why, like, I just need him to bite, and I feel like I can get him to the boat. Um, so, I
I'm
used
still a
to.
believer in the sharp hook, but
I mean,
I mean,
but if I
I
can't,
always change
if
out
I
my hooks.
stay, if I stay hung up, it doesn't do me any good anyway, because I'm
True.
just blowing out all the trees that I'm trying to fish, and
Hmm.
I'm moving backwards at that point. So
Yeah.
I rather give myself a chance to get the bite with a not, you know insanely sharp hook with just a standard fished hook than try and
Yeah.
like just stay home.
Hmm. I'm actually
Um,
gonna when I go to iCast, I'm gonna ask the dude at Gamakatsu, Sid, and see if he can make some short shank round bends
I don't know why
with
they've never done that.
bronze.
That hook has been out so
I
long.
know.
It's like their number one treble hook for forever. It pretty much built their treble hook line, and
Yeah,
they've done
it's the
so many
deal.
different variations of the hook since then. Like, why not a short shank in the last 20 years?
Hmm.
Um, but the,
I think the only problem.
The Gamakatsu bronze round bend was the first hook that, speaking of sharp hooks, was the first hook I ever saw somebody sharpen. And
Oh, yeah.
he was like, I was fishing with a guy from South Carolina, and he was throwing a deep baby in Norman, and we were fishing on Old Hickory Lake, and he sat down before he started fishing. He pulled out a little file and started sharpening his hooks. And he's like, I was like, that wasn't sharp enough out of the pack. And he's like, no. Okay. And he's like, feel it now. And I felt it. And he's like, all right. And he started like pulling out his little stone and he sharpened it. And he's like, feel it now. And that shit would go through your finger, dude. Like, you would like touch it and it would be like on the other side of your fingernail. And I didn't realize like how sharp you could manually get one of those hooks, but you can get a bronze Gamakatsu real sharp.
Interesting. I've never sharpened them. I always just change them out and just throw them out or something. I never sharpen them. I need to get a sharpening stone or something with that.
Yeah,
That's what.
I got this little red one.
Yeah, I remember you showing us that. I was like 20 years old or something.
Yeah, this one has been with me forever.
Yeah.
Used to stay in my boat, but I don't sharpen hooks anymore. So,
TK wants them as rusty as possible.
yeah, I like the rust. The rust lock is what Morgan Mason calls it. When you get that rust on the barb and it goes in, it acts like another barb and it won't let the hook come out. Rust lock.
Another
Custom
question
balsa
from
are worth it to the average angler, or do you think that a black label sort of deal is better? And do you think there's a big difference between those two ability wise? I mean, it's the same with anything. It depends on what you're looking to do, and it depends on how well you know what you're doing. If you are a guy that likes to throw a crankbait because like me, I throw a crankbait a lot.
Mhm.
So because I throw a crankbait more than I throw most other things, I see situations where I need something else. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So if I have a need or there's a gap, I need to fill it. And guys who fish, like, if you're like a jig flipper, you can't just have like one universal jig or one universal hook that like does everything. Um, and there's just little things about baits, that how they run, where the line ties are, what the bills are made out of. All these things add up to, the average guy might not care, but if you're really into cranking, little things bother you, like
Mhm.
how the eyes turned on the tail or on the bottom hook hanger, or
Mhm.
if the line ties in the bill or in where it is.
Yeah.
So that all, like I said, it just depends on how nerdy you want to get. And I, I certainly think I think it's worth it if you know where it fits in. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if a Crush 50 does the job for you, and that covers the water that you need it to cover, then it's a perfectly fine bait. But if you have, if you're getting hung in a certain type of tree, or you're doing this and that, and you start, looking for different options, they're out there. And certain
Mhm.
people build baits a certain way. Um, like Black Label makes a balsa bee, I mean a killer B2. I would never
Mhm.
throw that killer B2. Not a shot on cliff, but his killer B2 doesn't do what a killer B2 is supposed to do. But
Mhm.
I could send those baits to y'all, and you might be like, "Oh, that's a great bait, man. That's good." But to me,
Mhm.
I wouldn't wipe my ass with it. So
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more like what you like to fish and what if you see the value in it as well, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because I
sure,
mean, not everyone wants to spend 20-30 bucks on a crankbait, you know?
no,
I'm
that's a good
fine
thing
with
about
spending
Burns's
that
baits, where Burns filled a gap
though. Hmm.
is when the way me and Marty got to be friends was he was repairing all my old Bagleys,
Oh, yeah.
and he would put bills in them. He would do this, he would do that, and he was like, "This Bagley's are the biggest pieces of junk." And he was like offending me. I was like, "Burns, these are my like prized possessions." And he's like, those things are the worst." And he used to always just like rag on my Bagleys. And he's like, "I can make you a better mousetrap." And he does. And the difference in what Burns can do is Burns was able to make me a balsa bait that was durable.
Hmm.
So Bagley, if you got an old one and you had a good day on it, and you went out and caught a bunch of fish, and you cranked hard, and you cranked a bunch of trees and stuff,
I think it's falling apart.
it's coming apart. You're going to break the bill off. You're going to get a chunk taken out of it, and it's going to start taking on water. You're going to have to take it home, and you're going to have to do your little repair job to it and get it like ready to go
Yeah.
again. But Burns
Hmm.
is the way he builds baits. They're tanks, dude. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to repair them. Like I've hit them on the trolling motor. And like everybody knows, if you hit a Bagley on a trolling motor on the side of the boat or something, it is dust. Like that thing is coming back in pieces. But like I've beat the hell out of Burns's baits, and like I've cracked his epoxy once, I think, and so they just last a lot longer. Um,
I mean, I barely have any damage on this thing. I mean, it's got that one little spot right there where I hit it on like a stump. That's
there you
bad.
go.
And it didn't crack through the sealer coat either. So I was just
No,
like,
that was just you just chip some paint off. Like
yeah,
until
yeah.
if you can protect the balsa, which is what he does the best. Um,
Hmm.
if you, as long as you don't get into that wood to where the wood starts soaking up water, you're safe.
Yeah.
And you can knock the paint off of them all day, and
Hmm.
that can be fixed. But
Yep.
when you start like old Bagleys, they get chunks. Once you start knocking paint off,
Yeah.
you're getting pretty close to wood.
Yeah.
And
I was filling
but
the holes in a B3 that Bob sent me, and just a few minutes ago, as I was on the phone with Tim, and yeah, it that balsa is way squishier than the stuff that Burns uses. I mean, it's like crazy
Bagley, you can
soft.
crush in your hand.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you took one,
it's
you could
crazy.
squeeze it, and it would. I mean, I got a
Yeah,
million of them. I could
So
crush every
got
one
one
of
right
them.
here. There you go. Probably squish that one.
Oh, DB2. That came
I
from
love
Bob.
bass patterns. Those are like, yes, it did actually. I love bass patterns. Those are like my
Do
favorite
you?
of all time.
How do you
Yeah,
rank
I love.
Bagley's bass pattern?
I
It's
think it's
okay.
just
It's
but
not
here's
my
a bass.
favorite though. It's
Oh, there's a
oh yeah.
real looking bass. Maybe a little green, but
Yeah, it's a little
I
green for
always love
I
Bagley's.
like more
I
gold
always
in
like
the.
Bagley's. I always like Bagley's. Their bass because it looked kind of like their Tennessee shad, which I thought was their best color they
Oh
ever
yeah.
made. But
Hmm.
um,
I always like a little bit extra gold and silver in the bass pattern, and they did it good on the belly. It's like a little bit more gold, or maybe that's just how old it is. It's just kind of turning a little bit yellow, but yeah,
see,
I like.
that's what turns regular fishermen into painters.
Yeah.
They look at that baby bass and they say, "Man, this thing looks like ass. It needs more gold."
Yeah,
Pick up the
yeah,
airbrush,
do better.
and then your paint falls off, and you're like, "Damn, I should have stuck with my regular."
What's what's your favorite soft plastic?
Soft plastic. Um,
Or you can break it into like sections if you want, like your favorite worm and then like your favorite like creature.
Favorite worm is pretty easy. I've been throwing and color. I literally throw one color, June bug red, old monster. That has always been my worm. But
Good one.
soft plastic. It's hard for me to beat a sweet beef.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
'Cause, I mean, I've got a sweet beef story that started in college. Well, this isn't going where you think it is. This is actually a fishing story, but this is I had a guy that worked at the local tackle store, and I walked into the store and I was like shopping around, and I was like a sophomore in college or something, and he was like, "Hey, dude, you tried these sweet beeves yet?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Check them out." And he's like, "We're the first store east of the Mississippi that has them." And this is when Reaction was in Arizona.
And that was when Andre owned it, right?
Yeah, he still owns it, but
Well, he's not making that anymore, right?
nah, yeah, I don't know what he does. Does stuff. But yeah, he that was the first store east of the Mississippi that had the sweet bees, and I bought a pack of penetration and I bought a pack of sprayed grass, and I went out and I pitched it and I caught 20 pounds in about 10 casts.
Oh, man.
And I said, "Dude, this thing's legit." And that the sweet beef literally took every other bait out of my arsenal. I didn't fish anything for like years. I literally took a sweet beef and just pitched to everything. And they bit it that good. It was so weird. Like, and if you didn't experience it or you've never experienced like, and it sounds dumb when people are like, "Oh, they bite it because they've never seen it before." Dude, that shit is real. Like I was a skeptic, and I was like, if somebody's like, "Oh, you need to try this," they've never seen it before. That's how they bit that thing. Like if I pitched it in a tree or just going down the bank, I honestly thought like if a fish was there, it was going to bite it.
Yeah.
And you caught that many fish on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never put it down. Like it was, I mean, they weren't the most durable thing on the planet, but I mean, they work so good. Like I was hooked from the get go, right? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't gonna cheat on Reaction because they had like caught so many fish for me, and like they did it first, and they did it best. So I still roll with the Reaction Beaver. Trying to think what else I pitch. I pitch a tube still a lot, but there's never been
secret tube.
Yeah, the secret tube.
Somebody's saying in here.
Huh?
Somebody's saying you got a secret tube in here. I think it was Hella.
It's not a Punisher. It's a Prowler. But yeah, that company's gone by the wayside also. But
both clicked the same one too. Good job.
Sorry. Oh.
Favorite color Zoom Lizard?
That Motor Oil and June Bug are both good. And the Lemon Pepper. Chameleon, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good color. I mean, honestly, they don't really make a bad color. I mean, they all catch fish.
No, growing up, dude, I bought every Zoom color imaginable. I used to throw kudzu. I used to throw cotton candy. I used to throw sour grape. I used to throw bruiser. I used to throw everything, dude. Scuppernong when it came out. It was like every time a new like Zoom color would come out, I'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna be the juice."
Yeah.
John, I don't know a good answer to that
one
because
I can't
get bit in super shallow grass down here.
What? You're in Alabama. How is that possible?
It's the Delta. I
Okay, so
can't.
you've
I,
got
I brought Eric. Eric Galasso came down here. Epic Eric came down here, where he is from, the homeland of shallow cranking a 1 minus on the Potomac River and up
Yeah.
there, where they like chew the paint off that thing. And I told him, I said, if you're so good with that damn thing, you catch them. Show me. And he's like, okay. And he, like, we waited for the tide to get up and get over the grass to where you could crank a little bit. And it wasn't like the best conditions, but like I've never I there's better stuff for me to do than try and like force that crankbait bite.
man.
Yes,
So I
sir.
stay away from it. And that's the thing, is I've got every good like shallow grass bait you can want. Hell, I got a box right here from, where is it?
Have you ever used the fat Lucky Craft BDS4s? These are like the deal in grass. These
I've never
things.
cranked that. That's typically down here in the lower end where all the grass is there's not a lot of giant fish, so you need tiny ones to get more bites. I've used
I got
the little mini Lucky Craft. Eric sent me one. It's like a maybe I shouldn't tell what it is. I don't know if it's a secret, but it's like a small Lucky Craft
yeah.
wake kind of 1 minus thing.
I don't know what, none of the other sizes do it. Like this was the only one that works in grass really well. I don't know why the other sizes don't work in grass as well.
Whoa,
Let's see. Got these in the
whoa,
middle today.
whoa,
Uh-oh.
Caro, we can't say things like that. That's how it all started for me. My dad tied on a baby 1 minus because he knew I couldn't really get snagged up and was like, here, go. And then I started catching more fish than him.
You see what that is?
Ooh, is that a Burns?
That's a Burns baby 1 minus.
Mm.
Also 1 minus. And I've got
I won't
these. I
let
just
us-
don't. I just can't make myself fish them.
Dang. You just need to make that one into have a circuit board lip, and it'll be like legit.
Yeah, then it would be appealing to me. I wish Burns was listening tonight. Is he there?
Send him a message and see if he's.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's awake though.
No, he's probably not.
It's a good answer.
Best crankbait for grass is a swim jig. Yes, I would almost argue the best crank for a shallow grass is a skinny dipper, but
I'm not sure where Jermaine went. Just
or an
popped out.
ultra vibe.
Oh yeah, I love those Magnum Ultra Vibes. Those things are legit.
Yeah, I can't. I've almost gotten to where I don't even swim a worm as much anymore as I used to, and I just throw a skinny dipper.
Those 1-up shads are legit. Those things are awesome for grass.
Bob, I don't like coffin bills, and it's purely vanity.
Mhm.
I just think they look dumb and they bother me. And I saw like so many taps and stuff like that growing up, and I saw the coffin bill and I just didn't like it. I'm sure it catches a bunch. It's a great bill design. I guess Steve Blazer would probably tell you it's supreme to all others, but I just don't like it. Like I had those where is it? The Rapala DT flats
Mm-hmm.
that had the coffin bill on it. That's the first thing I did once I bought it. I sanded
Would
the
you
corners
replace
off
it
and
with?
rounded it off.
A DT8 or something?
Huh?
Did you replace the bill with like a DT8 or 10?
No,
Bill?
I just rounded off the DT. The DT.
Oh, you
flat
rounded
bill.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I just
I
took the
gotcha.
little corners off and rounded it, and it runs awesome, dude. Like it runs great. But
How's it around rock? Is that one? Well, you don't really fish rock, do you?
say again?
There's not much rock around you, is there?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I've never.
I think the only thing I've fished with rock is like a dam or something, and I rarely fish those.
Yeah, I try to stay away from it. I prefer my
Wood.
cover to be wood porous.
Yep.
Um,
I love the K9 Bob. Such a good bait. Just definitely get like the transfer tail because that helps it a lot. Just keeps it stable.
Adam likes the swimming image. That's interesting because I've never heard anybody that liked that thing or like knew where it fit in. Like as a bait. Like if it was good at, I mean, if it's a good grass bait, then that's
Mhm.
good to know.
Interesting. Boo,
Um,
Gookin. Yeah. Yeah. There he is. Where'd you go?
My
You're coming
phone
back.
died.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yep. I thought I was gonna make it through, but it's all right. Just sitting on the couch now, y'all. It's okay.
We're in the hour now, so I'll probably do the giveaway. Let me get the giveaway started here. Let me find a question here, and we'll get the giveaway going. We got a question from Critical Gravy.
who got me into fishing? Um, I guess my dad was a fisherman. Um, he wasn't like hardcore bass fishing, but he bass fished. Um, but I can tell you the bite that got me into bass fishing. Um, I think I was either 4 or 5, and we were at my grandfather's house, and my dad has like fishing poles and stuff, and he had his little tackle box, and we were at my grandfather's little, like, I mean, the pond was probably like a quarter of an acre big. Like you could jump across it if you could jump real far. It was a micro pond, but we were back there farting around, and I had my little like Zebco or whatever, and I was digging around through my dad's box, and I was trying to figure out something to throw, and he had this green, like army green, hollow frog that
Oh,
had like legs that looked like that.
dude, I
Like,
have one of those. It's
you have
a
one of those?
scum frog, isn't it?
I don't
It's
know
the
who
old
made
scum
it at
frog.
the time because this would have been in like '88 or something.
I might
So
have it here.
it had black dots on it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I told him I wanted to fish that, and he's like, "I ain't nothing gonna hit that." And I was like, "Just tie it on." So he tied it on. I threw it out in the corner of the pond and like didn't know what I was doing, and I just started like jerking it around, and it somehow elicited. I say it was a 5 pounder. I don't know how big it was, but it was like somebody dropped a cinder block on this stupid frog. Like the whole pond like erupted when this fish bit, and I was just standing there going, "Ooh!" Like I didn't know how to set the hook or anything, so I just like stood there and froze because I was kind of terrified and like didn't really want to know what this was to even reel it in. But so I just kind of like stood there in astonishment that something actually ate it. And but after like the chaos, I was like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
And
you're hooked after that.
yeah, after that, I was like, it was like a lifetime obsession, dude. But my dad would take me a bunch. So he put up with bass fishing as much as he didn't. Maybe he would have probably rather been crappie fishing or brim fishing or something or speckled
Yeah.
trout and red fishing. But he was nice enough to put up with my bass obsession. And I literally could, like, I'm sure I was annoying because I could have fished every day, for the rest of my life. It wouldn't have mattered.
I'm sure you're still the way. I think we're all
Yeah.
that way most of the time.
Well, that was the difference in me and all the other kids and like all the people he knew and like his friends and stuff. Like they would go fishing and they would take their kids and then they would, fish for a few hours and they would be done.
Mhm.
I never was satisfied. Like I could fish from dark to dark and you would have to peel me away from the damn lake. And they're like, "You ready to go home?" I'm like, "No, like leave me here."
Yeah.
Like I never got sick of fishing. Like I and I'd fish with like his friends and they're like, "Man, this kid's like into this stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I can't ever catch enough."
Yeah.
'Cause you're going out with your dad's friends and they're like you're on the boat and they're fishing and like, "Man, I
Mhm.
caught so many, my damn arm's sore." And it's like, dude, that number of fish doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Like,
It doesn't.
that's impossible. Like
yeah. I
if,
feel you on
if
that.
I ever say like I caught so many bass my arm hurts and I'm like tired and ready to go home, like I would accept that challenge.
I have a
It never
problem where I
gets old.
don't bring
Like
water out.
getting a bite and reeling in a bass never gets old.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it could. I mean, maybe like the little like 1 pounders or half pounders that kind of gets a little You're just like, oh, all right, here we go.
Yeah, see, when that happens though, that's when I get like experimental with like baits, and I'm like, all right, well, let's see what kind of weird stuff I can catch them on, or let's just let's do something different.
Yeah.
Or like when I was in we go speckled trout and red fishing down in what do you call it, in Apalachicola, Florida, and there was a bunch of little like school sized trout down there,
Hmm.
and they get pretty small, or not small, but they're just like conventional bass tackles, kind of overkill for them. So a couple years ago, I had the bright idea. I was like, I'm gonna bring like an ultralight that you would like fish for brim with,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna tie like a little grub on it, and I'm gonna like trout fish with it. Well, I ended up catching like a 4 pound redfish on it. Dude, it was a blast. And it
Man.
was like that was actually like a little bit challenging, and like it made it fun. So, I mean, if you're on a place where there's like a million pound and a halfers,
Hmm.
make it fun by like, going to like a little micro pole and catching them on 2 pound tests, then you have a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's interesting again.
Yeah.
But
Redfish are so much fun.
snatching a 9-inch bass on a 7'6" medium heavy, flipping stick with 20-pound braid is probably not that amusing, but
Yeah.
on a little Snoopy pole it is.
Didn't you say you have it on your YouTube? I think it was like an almost 10 or something that you hooked on the Snoopy pole.
Oh yeah, it was that was in Austin.
Yeah.
That last fish I caught, Brendan, was probably 5 pounds on a spinning rod. No, you hate that. A medium spin.
Yeah. All right, whatever. We've heard enough about spinning rods.
Yeah, that fish was on a crappie jig. It was on a bed, but I caught it on a crappie jig, suspended under a cork.
Oh, it's interesting.
Which is actually, I don't know why more people don't utilize that in bed fishing or bass fishing in general, with like
Smart.
an artificial bait under a cork.
Wow. And just
Because
leave it.
it's fun, dude. Like nothing is better than watching a cork go down. But that, like, to me, it would help me like fish a Cinco. You know what I mean? Like, it is boring as like fishing a Cinco is and letting it fall. Like, at least watching a cork go down would kind of be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
True.
fun. All right, I think I'm going to get the giveaway started here. We have the mystery duffel bag, so I'll reach in and grab a packet of baits out of there. We've got like little packages filled with baits, and I'm also going to give away one of the shirts that Amy did for me. So getting these shirts done. So you guys just need to tell me your size. I have sizes from medium all the way to 3XL. So if you're out of that range, I'm sorry. I'll throw in extra baits for you.
No mediums, no smalls.
So here I'm going to share the screen here and get this going.
Wait, I want to share it. I want to get in the giveaway.
Let's see. Here we go.
HJ's
All right, there you go. Hashtag.
I'm going to Randy
Kraft. And
if you spell it with a
Oh, nice.
if you spell Kraft with a C, you're disqualified.
There we go. Everyone disqualified if you can't spell it with a C. What gave you the means to start with a K instead of a C?
My name.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's easy.
Sweet. So if you guys want to get in the giveaway, do hashtag TackleCraft and you'll be entered. So yeah. All right.
I was laying on my parents' basement in my parents' basement on the couch, and it hit me because I was trying to think of like bait business names, and I was like, and I thought of all kinds of dumb stuff, and then and I was like, okay, I need to narrow this down and give me something. I need somewhere to start, and I was like, how about if you could use your initials and then work from there? So
yeah,
tackle this, and finally I was like, wait a minute, Kraft it is. Kraft it
Nice.
is.
I was Bass Magnet Baits back in 2018. I was Bass Magnet Baits.
That
And
was
I had the
available?
logo. Yeah, that was mine. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool name. And I could do like a crawfish with magnets on its claws on the background or something, have a bass like looking like it's mesmerized by the claws. And I had this whole idea and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I found out there was someone in Canada making baits under that name. So I was like, dang.
Yeah, I was like, there's no, that's a layup, dude.
Yeah. And
No
then I
way,
tried
no way nobody took Bass Magnet.
Yeah, so now I'm.
My boy came up with mine, and he doesn't even fish anymore. I met
Oh,
this
man.
guy over COVID. Yeah, and we were fishing at the one of our local lakes, the reservoir. And I remember he was like, I was like, yeah, bro, I might do the YouTube thing. I don't know. He's like, what's your name gonna be? And I was like, damn, I never thought of that. I was like, I don't know. And he was like, mainstream fishing. And I was like, yo, that's actually pretty cool, man. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
get it, stream. I'm like,
yeah, there's
oh, yeah.
there's a lot of play on words with that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, it's a stream. I'm streaming.
Creek stream.
Creek streams, you know, a stream flows into a lake, you know. Kind of.
South
Yeah,
Jersey
that's
trying to
pretty-
sneak in at the end.
Oh, he's trying the technique, the hella technique. Hell is you're putting the native gill to work.
To get a 500 ticked off. And then lost
good
it when
one.
it bit my drop shot. Ouch.
You should have just used the native gill and
Right.
caught the fish with it instead.
And then when it didn't bite, go to the next one.
Yeah, there you go.
Or catch it on the drop shot and then hang the native gill in its mouth, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
That's all the swim baiters out there.
Bait hang.
It's interesting. Never heard of that with a mid 1 minus.
Bait kind
Wouldn't that just be called a
big
one?
bugs. Yeah, I think any of those 1 minuses, they're very weight picky.
Interesting.
Except the big one. The big one you can do. But
Nice. All right.
yeah, hell,
See, I think we got
You
everybody.
should have just snagged his ass.
I know. Yeah, and just pull a Mike Long there.
Yeah.
All right. I think anybody else want to get in on the giveaway, and then we'll give it a roll. So give that
I
another
did
minute
live
or
here
so.
every night, I'd definitely be asleep.
What'd you say?
I'm joking. I said if I did lives here every night, I'd definitely be asleep. I'm like on the couch, extended.
You should have brought your
up.
computer. Would have kept you
I
awake.
know. It's sad. I can't believe I forgot it. I honestly didn't even realize until like 9:20.
Oh,
I went over to start setting up, and I'm like, oh, no computer. So it's all good.
all right, guys. Here we go. We're
Oh,
gonna draw
look at Stearman.
All right.
We got. Let's see what Stearman
Let's
did.
everybody know I'm a real person, right? Not some
Yeah,
YouTube
Stearman's
bot.
real. No, he's a bot.
No.
Oh, new person.
No.
New
It
person.
wasn't Travis
Everybody-
Stearman. Weird.
Yeah, it wasn't Travis. And let's
Was it
see
Hella?
who was last. It was not
Everybody's.
Hella. Yeah, that's
Is
surprising.
that a burner? Hella?
Hella, is this one of your burner accounts?
Everybody's kin.
Hella, is this you?
No.
All
It's
right,
the-
I guess
It's,
not.
There they
it's the bean.
Oh. All right. Well, everybody's kin. I'm gonna go grab the duffel bag and we'll get you a lure.
It's not
There we
burner.
go. No, I'm real. All right, good. Congratulations.
What size,
It's Brian's burner account.
What size shirt do you wear? Wait, are you doing it all in one, Brendan? Are you doing the shirt and the bait?
Yeah, I want to save a little on shipping, at least just a little.
Okay, so what size shirt do you wear?
Yeah, everybody's kin. What size shirt do you wear? And
Size
I'll
XL.
go ahead and yeah.
Damn it, I didn't order those.
I know, Amy.
That's
I need
how it
another
works,
order.
dude. Anytime somebody's like, hey, you got a shirt? I'm like, sure.
I know.
You have an extra small? I'm like, no.
It's exactly. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lure out of here, or a lure pouch. So
Yeah, give me a shake up. Give me a shake up. Make it interesting. Yeah, shake it up. There we go.
let's grab one.
There you go. A size you have, extra large.
What do you get?
There we go. Gantrel. I
Oh,
do not have the card out of it, so there you go. I'm not sure. XL will be fine. All right, sweet.
that'll be fine. And a Gantrel.
So there you go.
Nice.
You win a Gantrel and a shirt XL. All right, sweet. So all
Not
you have
bad.
to do is email me or DM me. So you can go ahead and email me brownbaitco@yahoo.com or DM me on Instagram, and I'll get your bag mailed out tomorrow. So
I have
congratulations,
one of
man.
those, I have one of those baits.
The Gantrels.
Yes. And the only reason I have it is because I found it hung up on Gary Yamamoto's dock. And when we were fishing over there, I saw it and I was like, is that a swim bait hanging on his dock pole? And I walked out on the dock and it was like under the dock. And I took my rod and like stuck it under the dock and started like jiggling it around. And finally I was able to like free it and snag it. One of the fins is broke off of it. I'm sure at that time it's probably one of the Guggen squads. I need to go back and watch some of their videos from back then because it was probably like Alex Perrick's Gantarelle from back then.
That's crazy. I love that bait. That thing is like awesome.
AJ, you don't like masking off those fins? I didn't hate
that. Would be
they're a pain in the ass, but
that would be a little bit of a pain unless you're doing like the whole thing opaque. Unless you're doing like the fins like all not transparent or whatever.
I painted quite a few of them, and I always mask the fins off. But if you lay your tape flat on the top of the fin and then roll it around the bottom of the fin, it kind of fits pretty decent.
Nice. I never repainted one.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah. I think that honestly the colors they have are pretty darn good. Honestly, like the bass pattern, the carp colors, and the new crappie color they look pretty good.
You know the one that had that little kind of like a shell cracker?
Yeah.
I had somebody send me one of those and ask me to paint it like a shell cracker.
It's pretty funny.
What do you say?
I mean, just
Isn't
send
it
it back
already
to
a shell cracker?
just add a few more red dots or something. I don't know. To add a little bit of pizzazz to it, and clear coat and send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the swivels too. That would be a little bit more annoying. Mask those off on the inside and everything.
Nah, you just blast them. They're fine.
Man. Yeah, what's like a really annoying bait to repaint? I know you hate the pompadours. But
yeah, those are awful.
I mean, are there any other big baits that you hate repainting?
Hate painting?
Yeah. Small or big, whatever it is.
I don't like painting homemade swim baits.
Okay.
Unless I know who built them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like
it doesn't even have to be
like
homemade. Just swim baits in general that are made from a silicone mold and poured out of resin.
Mhm.
Because you never know. People do so much weird shit, dude. You have no clue what kind of stuff people spray inside their molds, what they do to their resin, what they do after the fact. Like that kind of stuff would blow your mind. And like you just never know what you're painting on.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard you try and like clean them and prep them and do anything, you still don't know what somebody's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody sprays like, I don't know, like,
the golden foot stuff in their mold and use that
yeah,
as
like
release.
there's no telling. Somebody's like, I use WD-40 as mold release. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, no wonder paint won't stick to it. Or you paint somebody's bait. They're like, hey, my buddy built this bait. Will you paint it for me? Sure. You like clean it, sand it, degrease it, everything that you're supposed to do to paint a bait, and then like you ship it to them, and then they open it up and they're like, the paint fell off. I'm like, what do you mean the paint fell off? They're like, paint fell off. It's like, ask your buddy what do you like use for mold release? WD-40. It's like, oh yeah, well, paint's never going to stick to that, so oh well. Um, but like I said, I mean, I've never had anybody spray WD-40, but I've
Yeah,
probably had pretty close.
yeah. There's probably some raunchy stuff in that they use as release or additives to make their resin less bubbly or something.
Yeah, there's no telling, dude.
Yeah.
No telling.
I mean, those KGB baits, they're just filled with pinholes, which are annoying. And I just like, ah. And then I ask them, I'm like, all right, do you want me to refill the holes, or do you want me to just be like, just paint over it?
See, I
Those
don't.
are, 'cause those are ugly.
I refuse to like fill and sand one,
Hmm.
um, just because I feel like that, like if the manufacturer wants it to look good and they want their product to like look to a certain standard, then they would do it. If they want it to look
Yeah.
like shit, then they're going to send it out like shit. So I like, to me, I'm not going to give a shit for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I feel like that's their job. But if somebody would really want me to do that, I probably wouldn't do it anyway, but I would consider it. But I've never had anybody actually ask me, "Hey, can you fill all these pinholes in?"
Mhm.
But it's the right thing that needs to be done for a
Yeah.
pretty paint job.
Yeah, definitely. The
but
pinholes just make it kind of look ugly.
they do. They look like shit.
Yeah,
It
it's really just annoying. Matt
is.
here had a question for you.
The most
Not sure if
expensive
you.
paint job you've ever done for someone on a bait.
I would assume it's a large bait because I'm not sure how you charge, but I'm assuming you charge by like the inch or something.
No, not anymore. I used to, and it was stupid.
Okay.
I thought it sounded like a good idea in theory until somebody would send me a 2-inch swim bait, like a 2-inch jointed bait. I'm
Oh,
like, I'm gonna charge you $12 to paint this? Like,
It's technically a
no.
3-piece bait almost.
Yeah, like a 4-piece
Yeah.
2-inch bait, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not doing that.
You're like, hold on, we gotta
Yeah.
reevaluate this.
Or somebody would send me like this, like, really like detailed paint job I did on something and wanted on something this big.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, no, dude, like, I'm getting hosed. So I just went to like
I was
flat
gonna
rate.
say, yeah, I've never painted baits, but I'm gonna imagine a bigger bait is almost easier.
Yeah, it's not, it takes me the same amount of time. The whole process is the same to paint a bait that's this big as this big. It's a little more product, but not enough to justify me like, losing my ass on a little bitty like
Yeah.
little bitty bait. So
Yeah.
I just go to flat rate to where like if it's 10 inches or it's 4 inches, you're gonna pay the same price. So
Yeah.
that's the easiest way for me to feel good about what I'm doing. Because I kept getting these little bluegill swim baits.
Oh,
Like the little gremlins.
yeah. Yeah.
And guys would want these like insanely like detailed paint jobs, and the bait's only like 4 inches, and like at the time, like it was like $20. I'm like, dude, screw this. So,
Oh, sorry.
Let's
but
click
the
this.
most expensive, I painted one of those Sherpas for the dude at Leviathan to look like the Joker.
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty sweet paint job. That was pretty cool.
That was expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because I paint fish is the thing. Is like I'm not an artist outside of anything. I don't doodle. I don't draw. I don't sketch. I paint fish.
Yep.
And that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at like
You're really good
drawing.
at it.
I'm not good at drawing cartoons or painting hair or that's not my realm of expertise. So when somebody asks me to do something like that, it's a stretch because I'm not good at it and I don't like doing it because that's not what I'm good at. So I did it, but usually something like that, it's like, I'll do it, but it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
Because it does take a while because I have to learn how to do it as I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like I've never painted a bait to look like the damn Joker.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do have a
Mhm.
picture of it. Um,
Yeah, I think I got an Instagram. It just may take you a little while to scroll down it.
yeah, I wish they would give me the. I don't remember where that was, but
Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Let's see here.
And then Mike Vogel had a good question too.
what's the most
What's the most difficult natural bait pattern to replicate?
natural bait? Hmm.
So I'm gonna
Hmm.
guess that he means like forage, like a bluegill, a crappie.
Yeah, crappie are hard. They're not hard.
I was,
They're actually they're hard to do good. They're
no, I
easy
was gonna
because
say that too. I feel like crappie's hard to imitate, but it's like it's easy though, but it's hard to get it right.
it's easy because you can get away with a lot because they're very busy and they're very there it is.
Yep, right there. It's pretty sweet.
Wow.
I mean the thing about it is I don't like painting those Sherpas because they don't look like anything. Um, they look like uh, my daughter has a book called the Pout Pout Fish, and there's a character in that book that looks like the Sherpa. Um, but people would send me those and be like, paint this badass bluegill on them, and like it looked like a bluegill with lips, but it didn't look like an actual like the paint job did not match the canvas,
Yeah.
and so no matter what kind of paint job you try to put on it, doesn't make that look like a bluegill. It looks like some lips with some bluegill looking stuff on it.
Yeah.
But I actually enjoyed doing that. I actually enjoyed doing that Joker because the paint fit. Strangely enough, like
Yeah.
the
It kind of fit just right around.
it kind of worked with that bait, and I was like, finally something that works with that bait.
All
But
right, here this.
I had a lot of requests for that thing.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Crazy.
actually at a buddy of mine's house, and a friend of mine from high school was there, and he follows me on Instagram, and he was like, "Dude, I saw that bait you painted. That thing was badass." And I was like, "Which one?" He's like, "The Joker." And I was like, "Dude, out of all the shit I've painted, you like that one?" He's like, "Yeah, I want one." I'm like, "No." And he's like,
That's a one.
I was like, "I'm not painting you a Joker." He's like, "Come on, dude." I'm like, why not like something that's like a fish? He was like, "No, Joker was badass." Okay, it's second in line to the Little Debbie Christmas cake.
Oh yeah, those I like those a lot. I need to get some of those next time you do a release of them. Now everybody does them. It's like why? Like you came out with the original pattern. Everyone's like, oh, we want our piece of the pie, and we want to
That's
copy
all
it.
it is. Everybody
Yeah.
sees something and they want to get their little piece of the pie. But by getting your piece of the pie, you destroy the pie.
Yeah.
You break the pie in so many segmented crumbs that nobody actually gets a piece of the pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I like the
misfit.
Hiroshima baits. Those look pretty sweet.
Yeah, those are. I love his carvings and how he designs baits. I will say
Yeah.
they're if you're a repainter or a somebody that deals with any type of bait refinishing, his
Hmm.
baits are very light and I would say they're heavy on the micro balloons.
Mm.
So you have to watch out with
Yeah.
his baits and any type of solvent because they're so heavy on the balloons that they'll
It just eats through.
disintegrate. Yeah,
Dang. Did not know that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
So don't hose one down with lacquer thinner if you get one,
Yeah.
or you will be testing your Bondo skills.
Yeah. I used to use Bondo for filling pinholes and stuff, but now I use resin, like actual resin for it, and it works way better.
Yeah, that's anytime I'd have to fill a hole in any of my like resin baits, I would just
Mhm.
mix resin and just
Yeah,
stick it in the hole.
yeah, it works way better. And I always usually dye it just in case I need to see like the holes and everything.
And it's faster to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You don't have to like be all meticulous and pick it all up and everything. It's not chunky and weird.
mhm.
Yeah. So when's the next native deal drop? I need one of those.
I have to rebuild. I'm going to start from scratch and redo everything from the beginning stages. Like I'm going to remold my master,
Okay.
and then I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to make the bait, and then I'm going to mold it and make molds for that, and just I'm going to redo all of my molds. So
Was there any like big problems with it that were just annoying in the manufacturing process?
no, it was just they weren't ever up to my liking. Like every mold I made got me by, but I never like looked at them and was like, damn, that's a great mold. Because I like something different.
Yeah.
So I want to do them all right and like just make it to where it's not such a just like a nuisance to build. Like I want to try and do myself some favors and make it to where it's as seamless as possible and not like hate to go pour a swim bait.
Mm-hmm. I want to get one of those 3-piece native gills. I saw you posted one. Are you ever going to release that one?
Yeah, I'll throw that one out there eventually.
Gotcha.
Like I said, I just got to get to the point where,
yeah,
I can streamline the process and make it. Which is 3-piece would be a hell of a lot easier than doing that little glide.
Because those glides are very finicky.
Oh, dude, and it's so small. Like you put an extra split ring on it, and it will sink.
It's crazy. Wow.
I never would have thought going into it how weight sensitive they were, and like, an extra couple coats of clear coat, thing will sink. You do like a heavy primer on it, thing's gonna sink. But it was it was definitely a learning process. So, but that's the other thing I like about it is that it is a low float, but it's really easy to make it a slow sink. So
I heard you say you can fish it like a wake bait too.
Yeah, you can. It floats. I mean, you can reel it up top and burn it and stop it, and it'll stay up top. But the thing about a low float is that you can still reel it and get it down like a couple feet. You can do it. That's why I made it a low float, because you can do more with it.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't understand why people make everything slow sink. Like, why not just sell somebody a floater or a low floater and let them put like a bigger hook on it and turn it into a slow sink? Like, it's really easy to do that, especially with glides.
Yeah, or put the Gulf tape on it or something.
Yeah, put a piece of tape on it and call it good, and then you have an infinite amount of baits because you have one standard you start with.
Yeah.
But to me, it never made sense to buy a sinking bait that would do the same. I could have a floating version too if they would just leave some of the weight out.
Totally.
But the walking bait, I've been working on that thing. It's in the other room.
Ooh, is this like a big walking bait, or are we talking like punker?
Yeah, it's like 7 inches.
Oh, that's a good size.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ran between
it's in the other room.
2 punkers.
Yeah, it's kind of punkerish.
Yeah.
You want me to go get it? You want to look at it?
Only if you want to. We'd be able to shoot the jorts.
Yeah.
Jermaine, you good there? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good now. Yeah.
I think he was over my mic.
And maybe I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I really enjoy this.
Oh no, you're good, brother.
You throw out any questions you
Apologize.
can.
Shorts. One take a drink.
There's the profile.
Ooh, I like that. That's very TK-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Just looks good. Like it all flows together. I like how you like dip it on the head. Just makes it look good. It's right, messing with Luke Malone.
Yeah, it's just it's got a lot of head detail, and the rest of the body is just
yeah,
it fits me.
it flows together, which is
Yeah.
nice. I like it's just like your native eel. It all flows together and it like matches your paint schemes, which is what also I
Mhm.
like. Because like some baits you paint like a bait and you're like, this paint doesn't really suit this bait. Like a bull shad. I mean, I like the bull shads and the perch patterns. It looks good. Perch and
Yeah,
shad patterns.
they hold perches really well,
Yeah, yeah.
but they need a very busy shad pattern to stand out. They need very like Jen does a
Mhm.
great job
Yeah.
with the way she paints. They're very bold and there's a lot going on, and but you can see it.
Yeah.
They
I
need
love
that.
their
Like,
cart patterns. Those things are
yeah,
awesome. I've got two of them up there. They're
they
awesome.
subtle on a bull shed doesn't work,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, I tend to paint kind of subtly.
Yeah. And do you think that's because the scales on there that kind of just like offset everything and make it kind of
Hmm.
weird?
That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Yeah. Like, 'cause, like I
Um,
look at Hinkle paint jobs and I'm like, all right, there's just gold on this bait and it has a black back. You can't really see any scales. There's no like pearls to, and the problem is the mesh netting doesn't fit the scales because each one is a little bit weird. So it's like,
yeah,
just it
I
drives
have
me
to send out
crazy.
a disclaimer to people and let them know that like when they want, like I could paint this bait and because it has no scales on it, you see every
Yeah.
detail of like the net and like colors you put in between it. And
Yeah.
I could post a picture of something like that on Instagram, and somebody will take that picture and say, "I want my Hinkle to look like that." It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, it's not going to because there's too many cut scales on a Hinkle that you'll never see any of the scales show up.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's kind of annoying.
it
We've got
is,
Adrian here. What's up, Adrian?
but you just have to,
I mean,
people
some
don't
baits.
care. But
Yeah.
I will say it does look better than if I were to just take like the same colors and then just like spray them down the side.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it looks better when you paint it through the scales. You get a little bit of depth, but you can't
Hmm.
really see it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Totally.
I hate scaled baits.
It doesn't show off the paint well. I mean,
No.
I I'm contemplating repainting my other Tato. It's like a hot pink color. I'm like, ooh, should I repaint this into like a shad pattern? But it catches fish, so
Well,
I
that's
might
all
just
that
leave it how
matters.
it is.
Yeah.
Is that the one with like the bedazzled, like bejewels on it?
Is that another one back here? I don't I don't know which one you're talking about.
What's
It,
your
it
No, never.
looks
I thought you were
it
talking about
looks
the
exactly
style.
like this. It looks just
what
like this, except it has pink on the back and white pearl belly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like the flat pattern, like 6 cents have.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I need eyes for mine.
You need what?
Huh?
You need what?
I need eyes for my Tados.
They're pretty. I like that right there. That's pretty.
Yeah. I don't have eyes or tails. I gotta send them to Josh. They're not mine. They're just I just painted them.
Looks sick.
Yeah, these are
It's awesome.
they're fun to paint because they're super clean, and
Yeah.
he doesn't do dumb. He doesn't spray dumb shit in his molds, and feels a good bait.
Yeah. It's a good bait. I
They're
like
a
them.
joy. They're a joy to paint.
Yeah. Just like a Marty Burns, those are. I mean, just like having like. I mean, I do them the same way now, but
Mm-hmm.
those are. It's so easy to paint. Like you just scuff up the surface and you know go to town on it.
Go to blasting, and
Yeah.
that's the thing is like you can dunk that thing in lacquer thinner. You can like
Mhm.
you're
It's
not
all
gonna
sealed up.
dick it up. You know what I mean? It's all sealed up.
Yeah.
It's ready to go. You're not gonna mess it up.
Yeah. So did you say you shipped the Moabs today?
No, they're still sitting here. I don't have any boxes to ship them in.
Okay, gotcha. Those things are. I'm really looking forward to fishing those. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'll be. You're gonna have to take your 12-pound test off and
It was 14.
your noodle and beef up a little bit.
I'll probably throw a 20-pound big game on
Yeah,
those.
20
Why not?
pound little meat stick. You'll be all right.
I think I should be good. Yeah. You don't need to send the packages with mine. Just save those for yours or whatever, someone else. 'Cause
Oh,
I don't need the packaging.
hell, it's
That way
harder
you
to
don't
get
have
out. It's harder to get out now because those things are like jammed in there.
Oh yeah, that is a bigger bait. So
Yeah,
all
I
right.
had to beef up the packaging to a different size.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not planning on snagging those, Matt. I don't try.
Yeah, if you use dull hooks, you don't have to worry about that, bro.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Stuff, and that bait will last forever.
I don't know about that. I'm
What
gonna
is
keep
your
it short.
what is your prized possession back there on your wall?
I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of baits up there that I really like, but honestly, that 316 workhorse, it's like it's such a good bait.
Has it
I mean,
got
you
the-
feel it.
yeah, thumps.
Yeah, it's like I mean, that's like the thing with it. That's why I like it so much because you can feel which way it's facing, how it's moving in the water, and it's so well balanced. I mean, you can fish this thing fast. It has a good slow swim. I mean, it's just like it's a deal.
hmm
That's what I love. What you got back there on anything cool that you like on your wall? I know you like
Me?
that big rat.
Oh, that's probably the shining star of the wall.
That thing is awesome.
Is the mutant rat.
Yeah. Jermaine, you're gonna flip when you see this thing.
Oh
Uh-oh.
Don't do that.
Is the bill broken?
no!
Okay, good.
I
Okay.
think this is the serviced. Yeah, this is the the updated lip.
Okay. I gotcha. That thing is
Jesus,
insane.
Mary, Joseph.
This is from Chris. This is the mutant rat from Australia from Jonas at Follow Forms, which was previously Lure Color Studio Color.
It's insane.
Yeah,
Those eyes are hand painted too, right?
they are.
Yeah. It's insane how of work went into that thing.
Yeah, I've done a couple of
beautiful.
rants on this guy's work on my midday YouTube stream.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you were
I think-
there for it, but yeah,
Yeah, I remember him.
it would almost make me sick when somebody would. I was reading the comments when he would post these, and somebody would be like, "Cool lure," and it would like make my stomach churn. Like the amount of like dedication and like the dude literally dedicated, the better part of his life to getting good enough to get to this point, to create it,
Yeah.
paint it, just want to build it, everything. And it's
His
like,
paint
dude,
jobs are insane too.
yeah, it's like that is so much more than like a cool lure. Like,
Yeah.
it,
It's
it
art.
goes way beyond that. And
Yeah.
like if you could see the depth in like the eyeball up close,
see if
like
I
you
can
can
check.
see through it, dude. Like it's just there's so every little detail is like perfect. And the other thing about it is that
I have a rat too. Mine's just black.
it's
It's not fancy.
I
Yeah,
can't
not
pour
fancy.
I can't pour this damn thing without getting like air bubbles in it. And this thing is like got so many like little details in it, and it's damn near perfect.
I bet you he's using a pressure chamber for those. I mean, there's no way he's not having to fill bubbles with like a toothpick.
I don't know, dude, because he's got a video out of him building these.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's not like I'm sure he left some stuff out, but
Yeah, everybody does if they do
his
that.
his molds are made right. Like
Yeah,
they're done right. And I think one thing that he does that helps is that his bait's poured like this.
oh yeah.
So if
Yeah.
he's going to get air bubbles, they're going to be up here.
Mhm.
All this stuff out here, which there's plenty of shit out here to catch air.
Mhm.
There's a lot. But
Tilting the ball. that
yeah,
they're
he's
doing, like,
probably
in
beating
board.
around on his mold and doing all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah,
but still, he's got his mold built right
Yeah.
and good. So, but even then,
Does
dude.
Does he suspend the weight in there, or is he drilling separate holes? I didn't.
I
know if
think
he
it's
has.
suspended in there.
Okay.
The dude's a wizard. Like if there's a smarter way to do it than everybody else, that's the way he does it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Incredible.
well, he was the first guy. Jonas was. He was the guy that developed the 3D printed lure stencil.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did not know that.
So I kind of like I'm a huge fan of Jonas, what he's done. Like his painting before this became even a thing. He was Lure Color Studio, COLOUR. and he did like he just painted weird baits, and he developed these like 3D printed stencils that were like encapsulated the bait, and you could paint
Yeah.
whatever. And so I feel like he was ahead of his time, but he also set the standard for like the demise of the custom painting world, because he was the guy that made it easy. He said, you know, he literally said, here's a picture of this bait that I painted that looks awesome. You can do it too. And here's the steps. And you just put this 3D printed stencil on there, and you spray and you paint these 3 colors, and you spray this, and you take it off, and it looks just like that. And it's the truth. Like he made it like color by numbers, to where it was like, I can take a shitty painter and make you look like you know what you're doing. So he kind of opened the door for that, like guys making stencils and selling stencils and stuff.
Yeah.
He just did it better than everybody else.
Hellbass says it's almost as cool as a coal shed.
Oh.
Oh.
The name's not as cool as coal shed, but that's part of the reason why the coal shed works so good.
Oh, I'll have to look at him, AJ. I haven't really like looked at his page or anything.
Oh, the dude, they were beautiful. Like everything he did was awesome. Look him up on YouTube. He had like painting videos.
I definitely will.
He still is. I mean, obviously, but the cool thing about what he did was that he like did all that crap with like how to paint lures and stuff. He just disappeared. The dude like falls off the face of the planet, and you know he's doing who knows what in Australia, but Lure Color Studio kind of ceased to exist. And then he just springs back up as Follow Forms, and he's got this rat and like all this other stuff, and it's like so much better than like that little, like looking back at his like little 3D printed stencils, like he just went like super extreme. Jonas Summers is his name.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out on all the forums and everything and see if I can buy one of those baits, because they just look beautiful just to hang on the wall.
Yeah, they swim good too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, fellas, it's 11:30. I think I'm gonna tap out.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
All right, well. All right,
so,
awesome.
You guys have a good night.
Take
Everybody
it easy,
in chat, hanging out.
All right.
Yeah, I'll holler at you. Brendan, I'll
See you
holler at you
later.
tomorrow.
Later,
Thanks
dude.
for having on, man. It was fun.
Take it easy.
All right. So TK, you want to quit off here too? Or are you good?
I mean, whatever you want to do, dude.